boy.
For Jalen Carter. Oh, my. That was a pretty interesting tidbit there from Micah Parsons.
Wow.
And then we continue to build out our staff, John. So we have a full week of Eagle Talk to talk about. Let's start right there with some of the headlines that came from the weekend relating to the Eagles.
Well, I'll start with the Micah one because there's a bunch of people who didn't believe me for many, many years when I told you how much the Eagles like Micah Parsons. I hope you realize it now because they weren't trading Micah Parsons for Jalen Carter. They were trading Micah Parsons. They were trading Jalen Carter, a number 1, a number 3, a day 3 for Micah Parsons. And there'd be a couple late draft, like the 3rd round pick. Maybe there would have been a 4th round pick coming back. That you're at that stage. You're trading draft position. Maybe the 5th round pick, a 6th round pick comes back. So it would have been Micah Parsons and 2 day 3 picks for Jalen Carter, a 1, a 3, and a 5. That's how much they wanted Micah Parsons. And I would have done that deal.
That. I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm saying it's crazy that the Eagles.
I don't think Howie's crazy.
I don't think he is either. I'm saying just the thought of it. I'm not saying I don't think it's a crazy idea. I mean, if they think he's that good of a player, then make the move. And Jalen Carter, look, as good as Jalen Carter is, there is some stuff there that are still big question marks. I mean, the discipline.
Well, yeah, especially. I mean, at the time they were thinking about it, there wasn't as many. I think there are more now because of the shoulder stuff. And I'm still very concerned about Jalen Carter because he was not right. In the playoffs, he had one of his worst games against San Francisco. So, yeah, he was not right. So I'm concerned from the health standpoint. They just might have, beat him up too much. And hopefully, he can get back to where he was. I think they got to manage him better. You can't just play a defensive tackle 1,000 snaps and expect him to not be worn down. And I think that affected Jalen Carter dramatically. Still a very good player. Still very young. I'm sure they'll figure out something and get surgery, and hopefully he'll be able to come back. But big concern. Now, obviously, Micah tore his ACL, so you can't control the injury part of it. But Micah Parsons is one of those very few players that the Eagles, like I said, they during this run, they pretty haughty, a lot of hubris, I say all the time. They don't worry about too many people. It was always interior. Look at themselves. It's about us. It's about us. It's one guy they knew they couldn't block. And when that happens, and if he's available, same thing with Myles Garrett, they'll go try and get him. Man,
Jalen Carter for Micah Parsons. That would have been a groundbreaking trade, John, in Philadelphia. I think it would have worked out, but I mean, so you think that would have been a good move to send Jalen Carter and a 1 for Micah?
Well, I think at the time you have to realize they didn't have Jalen Phillips, so they're trying to. They look like a disaster. I said it all coming into training camp. I cannot believe Howie Roseman will go into a season with this edge rushing room. I said it constantly, and the answer to that was he tried with Myles early, tried with Micah Parsons, wasn't able to get it done. Ultimately got it done in season with Jalen Phillips. And I'm not going to compare Jalen Phillips to those two, but he's a good player. He knew. And yeah, I mean, it would have been fun to see Eagles fans turn and love Micah because they would love Micah on that defense, but not to be. And he ended up in Green Bay. And hopefully he can get back healthy because, you never know.
We'll see. Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. Interesting comment from Micah Parsons on Jalen Carter. The other couple comments that came from the weekend that were related to the Eagle land. A.J. Brown was on with Micah Parsons as well. A lot of Micah Parsons podcast talk. You made some good job as a podcast host, Micah. You made some good headlines. So well done there. But AJ kind of pushed back. He still wants to be in Philly, but still seemed a little bit fuzzy to me. Did you happen to see what A.J. Brown had to say on the podcast, John?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, he's doing his part, is how I described it. He knows if the Eagles are going to trade him, he's got to keep his value up. So he's smart enough to do that part of it. And then, boy, this is start early with my pet peeves. Has no one and realized like game day and yesterday was the biggest game day of the season, obviously with Super Bowl, the largest viewing audience, all that kind of stuff. Have people not noticed like the pregame shows, they repackage information to the casual viewers who don't pay attention
I
to
know
the
that,
NFL?
but that's because I'm so engrossed in the NFL world.
So this idea that AJ, first of all, the idea that the Eagles haven't engaged in trade talks, why would they at this point of the season, at this point of the calendar? Why would they? You don't engage in trade talks. You engage in trade talks at the end of the month in Indianapolis ahead of free agency. And if, not only this year's worse than other years because of all the upheaval on the coaching staff. So the Eagles have been hyper-focused on rounding out the coaching staff. You don't talk trades this time of year. It's like it's and to Mike Garafolo's credit, because if you just see the headlines and all the aggregation, you say, well, the Eagles are not talking about now. But in the report, if you actually watched it, he gave you the context. Well, yeah, I mean, you don't talk about trades. It'll ramp up if it's going to ramp up in Indianapolis. And he said that. So I'm not blaming Mike, but that's just how things are packaged. You have the headline, and then people aggregate it. Eagles not talking about trade. Only point I'm trying to say is they're in a holding pattern. Don't get too excited by that. And I'm still about 50-50 that he might be back, but it has nothing to do with not talking about a trade at this point. You would not be talking about a trade at this point anyway. So it's not meaningful is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough. We'll see what ends up happening with AJ